Yo, what's good? What's up? Welcome into the show. It is game week. How good does that sound? You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now live here on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, I appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day as we talk all things Eagles going into week one, Friday night, Brazil against the Green Bay Packers. Can't wait for it. And of course, we'll be live for a watch party right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. You can hang out with me as well as producer Chet. Here's everything that's coming up on the rundown for today's live program schedule. Eagles depth chart breakdown. We're going to look at every player on this Eagles team, all 53 active members on that roster. I also want to go through my 5 biggest storylines for the Eagles going into the 2024 season. And then a different spin off this first segment, the Eagles' projected starters. One thought for every starter on this football team for Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni, and Jeffrey Lurie. I mentioned moments ago that it is a game week for the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you're pumped up for the season opener, I want everybody watching right now to type E in a rapid-fire fashion because E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! That is the sound of the fall and winter. Type those E's down in the chat. We'll start to give you some shout-outs here. I see Brian Reed, Caleb, E-Money Bentley, Joshua Smalley, Buco TV, Derby, Cool Rains, all in the building. Joe Lord is there, Christopher Chandler, Frank Welsh, Fly Eagles Fly 704, Darren Ware. Thanks for hanging out here with us live on Eagles Now. And with our programming schedule, we're of course live right now on YouTube as I'm speaking. Yes, this is reality. I will also, and we will also be live Friday night, hour-and-a-half pregame show in the lead up to week one, Philadelphia, Green Bay. The show gets kicked off at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 3:45 p.m. Pacific. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon. Therefore, when we go live here on Eagles Now, you will be notified. Our live show here today on this Wednesday, September 4th, 2024 is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. If you're looking for tickets to any type of event, Eagles game, comedy show, concert, theater event, Game Time has the best seats at the lowest price guarantee, and they specialize in last-minute tickets because prices drop on the Game Time app as the event gets closer. They have their lowest price guarantee function where they guarantee you that you will not find cheaper seats on any other ticketing app. Couple of elements of the app that I love. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can access your tickets from your phone, and it's easy to share those tickets as well and resell them if you can't go to the event. If you want to go to an Eagles game, believe it or not, still tickets available in Brazil. If you want to take the last-minute international trip, hope you have that passport ready. And then week 2, the Eagles will play the Atlanta Falcons in prime time on Monday Night Football. So download the app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's first purchase only. But also check out the Game Time picks. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. You see that code there, Chat Sports, for $20 off. One of the big stories in Eagle Land today is the injury to Devin White. Is it a phantom injury or is he disgruntled after losing his starting role to Nakobe Dean? Let's dive into it here. And we talked about this at length earlier. That video is up on the channel here on Eagles Now. But Jeff McClain, Philadelphia Inquirer, with some reporting on this front. And this goes back to last week when we talked about that here on Eagles Now. And here's what he said here on the September 4th. Nakobe Dean was slated to be the Eagles starting Mike linebacker before the team listed Devin White on the injury report on Tuesday. Dean beat White out in training camp. It's unclear, he said, what role the Eagles had for Devin White, if any, on defense. Nevertheless, he wasn't on the plane when the team departed for Brazil this morning. Of note, too, is that Devin White practiced with Philadelphia earlier this week, and then he was listed as a limited participant with the ankle injury. And then there's this from Albert Breer. So we're trying to connect the dots here. There were murmurs that the Eagles could trade Devin White before the cutdown. Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, both were really good in camp. So fair or not, White missing the opener won't help his case for a big role in the defense. So could his roster status be in question, and could Philadelphia look to trade away Devin White? What a surprising development here. Here's more from McClain in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Before the Eagles placed Devin White on their injured list and kept him home from traveling, Nakobe Dean was slated to be the team's starting middle linebacker, NFL sources told the Inquirer. White spent most of training camp working with the first unit. Dean was mostly with the second unit, but the Eagles rotated at inside linebacker as camp in the preseason progressed, and Dean overtook White, sources said. The former second-team All-Pro was seen participating in the early portions of practice on Monday and Tuesday, but the Eagles listed him in their first injury report as limited with an ankle injury on Tuesday, and on Wednesday they declared him out for the game and not on the Eagles' Wednesday flight to Brazil. So some interesting stuff pertaining to the Eagles' off-ball linebacker situation. Looking ahead to Friday night, who you got in Week 1? PHI for the Eagles, GB for the Green Bay Packers. Get those game predictions in. Jacob Counts, I echo how he's feeling. He said that Dean shit is weird, out of nowhere. It really is. Eric Ramirez, Trotter Jr. has to step up. Yes, you're talking about X-Man Jr. He's now going to probably get some defensive snaps from time to time for Vic Fangio's defense. Cool Rain's going Philadelphia. Christopher Chandler, Philly. Brian Reed likes the Eagles to win. Dre, if anybody says Green Bay, they can get out of here. It's Philadelphia all day.
Sir.
I hope you're right on that. Here's our Super Chat menu for this Wednesday live show. All Super Chats get a shout out. You send in a $10 Super Chat, you ring the Liberty Bell. $20 will give you an Eagles chance to make our work neighbors go nuts. $50, a September competition. What we're going to do for the first time in the history of this channel, whoever sends in the most $50 Super Chats throughout the entire month of September, whoever wins and sends in the most $50 Super Chats in the month of September, we are going to send you a customized Eagles jersey. It will say Eagles Now on the nameplate with the number 24 for 2024. And in addition to that, some of the big-time Super Chatters will put your name on the jersey numbers. So if you send in a $50 Super Chat throughout the month of September, we'll also put your names on those jersey numbers, and then whoever sends in the most $50 Super Chats for this month, we will send you that customized jersey. So that is our deal for the people in the month of September. We want to make this show fun and interactive. That's a way to do that. And if we get to $100 in total Super Chats during this live show, I will do a beer boot, 3 beers, 1 boot. If you're ready to start the show, I need some help here. I'm looking at 165 people watching currently, only 37 likes. It is a crime that we don't have the stream to 100 likes. So help me out. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, because if you're ready to start the show and you're ready to talk some Eagles football, you want to talk some birds, I need you to hit that thumbs up icon right now. It's Chase Sr. It's producer Chip.
Let's go.
Chip, tell them. Let's go.
Where's everybody at, baby? We play football in 2 days.
2
Who's
days.
ready, man? Who's excited?
Halfway
Let's go.
there to 100 likes. Up to 50 right now. Continue to pepper that thumbs up icon. Like the video. Shout out to the recent commenters as well. Andrew Nathan, Peter Thurman saying, like this, John. I love it. Kelly Gasky, Henry Floyd, Jaden Fire, Joshua Smalley, Darren Ware, E-Money Bentley, Fly Eagles Fly 704. It's great to see everybody here hanging out with us on another edition of Eagles Now Live. We're up to 58 likes. Again, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and with that, let's officially get the show started right now. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, I appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day. And coming up, we're going to take a look at every player on this Eagles roster. An in-depth look at the Eagles depth chart. And of course, we'll highlight some of the surprises on that depth chart. First, a programming reminder. Be sure to join us on Friday night. What's happening Friday night? The Eagles season gets underway. It is the first time that there will be an NFL game on opening weekend on Friday night in 50 years. The Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. We'll be live with an hour-and-a-half pregame show, and everything gets started at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, 3:45 p.m. Pacific. In addition to that, if you want daily shows on the Birds, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell icon, turn on your notifications there for anytime we go live, anytime we push out a show, you will be notified. And if you're not familiar with our watch parties, it is the best place to experience an Eagles game day outside of being at the actual Eagles game. All right, Eagles depth chart breakdown here. We start at the quarterback position. No surprises here. Jalen Hurts, the franchise QB. Kenny Pickett did slightly edge Tanner McKee to become Jalen Hurts' backup as QB2. Tanner McKee played really well in the preseason, just not good enough during some of those practice sessions. So Kenny Pickett will be the backup behind Jalen Hurts going into week one against the Green Bay Packers. And I think Philadelphia is very content with this quarterback room. You have your franchise guy in Jalen Hurts, who's looking to rebound after the rough ending to last year. I think he's going to be able to do that simply with the better offensive scheme, play calling, and play designs. I think he looks more so like the player who finished runner-up in MVP voting during the 2022 campaign en route to Philadelphia, making it to the Super Bowl. And then you also have Kenny Pickett, who started a lot of games in this league. And then you have the young upside player, who I think has a lot of potential in this league, in Tanner McKee, who does have some Nick Foles vibes with how tall he is and his knack for making big plays, big throws, and clutch plays in big-time situations. Flip the page to the Eagles running back spot. Saquon Barkley, the most talented running back that Philadelphia has had since LaShawn McCoy. And I know I said that last year about DeAndre Swift, but that was true. But Saquon Barkley is much better than a player like DeAndre Swift, a more well-rounded playmaker, a more accomplished playmaker. I'm so excited to see what Saquon's going to be able to do in an Eagles uniform. Kenneth Gainwell is a very reliable backup running back. He can catch it, he can run it, he can pass protect. And then the sneaky addition this offseason in the NFL draft back in April, Will Shipley, a poor man's Christian McCaffrey, with the versatility that he brings. I think Saquon Barkley this year can be the Eagles version of what Christian McCaffrey brought to the Niners last year, just as a pass catcher, as a runner, and I think that Saquon can pop off for 1,500 to 2,000 all-purpose yards. Eagles arguably have the best and deepest wide receiver trio in the National Football League. A.J. Brown coming off back-to-back years of nearly 1,500 yards. He's virtually unstoppable. The physical makeup, the diversity to his game, how he has everything to his route tree, how he can pick up yards after the catch. He truly is a unique playmaker. And then DeVonta Smith, slippery, plays bigger than his size, a big-time home run threat. And I'm excited to see what Jahan Dotson can do. This is a player who has 11 touchdowns in his first 2 years in the NFL after being a first-round pick by the Washington Commanders, and that comes with bad quarterback play. Now, outside of that top three, you have Britton Covey and you have Johnny Wilson. So as far as depth goes, the Eagles are a little bit light at that receiver spot. Anaya Smith obviously put on IR due to injury. You have Paris Campbell on the practice squad, so if an injury were to happen, he would be the first receiver to get called up to the active game day roster. The Eagles only went with 2 tight ends on the initial 53. That includes Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. They did bring back Jack Stoll, who this offseason did sign with the New York Giants, but he didn't make their initial 53. So Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni really like him. They bring him back. It's noted there that he is on the practice squad, and maybe he is an active game day roster elevation from the taxi squad to the active roster, although I don't think Philadelphia is going to need to do that. I'm confident that Dallas Goedert and Greg Calcaterra can carry the load, and you can get by with 2 tight ends on game days. Eagles offensive line. It is a new era. No Jason Kelce for the first time since the early 2010s. It's wild to think about that. Cam Jurgens takes over for the best center in the history of this organization and arguably the best center of all time. There's some question marks there, but I like his game, and I think that Cam Jurgens is going to be a good and successful center in this league. You have Jordan Mailata, one of the best left tackles in the game, anchoring down Jalen Hurts' blind side. Landon Dickerson and him got paid this offseason. Mekhi Becton, a surprise throughout training camp and in the preseason, unseating Tyler Steen to be this team's starting right guard. He is playing there for the first time in his NFL career. There's so much ability with Mekhi Becton. Him staying in shape has been a little bit of a concern. Injuries have been a concern. He has played high-level tackle in this league, so I actually think with his size, it might benefit him to move to the inside, and I trust Jeff Stoutland's evaluation. If he thinks Becton can play right guard, then he can play right guard. And then Lane Johnson, getting a little bit long in the tooth, but still probably the best right tackle in the game. This Eagles offensive line, even without Jason Kelce, still has an opportunity to be a top 5, top 10 unit, both in pass protection and opening up holes in the run game. Looking ahead to week 1, who you got? Eagles, Packers in Brazil, 2 of the top teams in my estimation in the NFC going into 2024, type PHI or type GB. Today's Eagles Now is sponsored by our friends at Game Time. If you're looking for tickets to go to an Eagles game, sporting event, concert, comedy show, theater event, Game Time is where it's at. They have the best seats at the lowest price guarantee. Prices drop as the event gets closer, and you're guaranteed to get the lowest price on the Game Time app when you compare them to other apps in the ticketing marketplace. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Game Time picks are awesome. Curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, all-in pricing. I suggest you toggle this feature, showing you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout because ticketing apps do that far too often. And there are still plenty of tickets available for Philadelphia Eagles games this year. So download the app, create an account, use that code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. We'll put all of this information down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Eagles Now. We segue to the defensive side of the football. And this defensive line is going to fluctuate. It is going to change. There are going to be some adjustments there. So keep that in mind because Vic Fangio is going to run a 3-4, but it could also be a little bit of a hybrid 3-4. We don't really know until we see this unit on the field against Green Bay on Friday night. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, and Jalen Carter, the top defensive linemen. And because the Eagles go with the 3-4, they have their edge rushers, which we'll get to. Moro Ajomo had a good camp in preseason, former late-round pick by the Eagles in 2023 out of Texas. I'm a believer in him as a developmental piece. Thomas Booker came out of nowhere to make this initial 53. Howie Roseman, very complimentary of him. So, too, was Vic Fangio with the leaps that he made after being on the Eagles practice squad a year ago. Howie really likes his get-off at the line of scrimmage. And then Byron Young, a former third-round pick by the Raiders last year, he got claimed through waivers by the Eagles. So he is on this active roster for Philadelphia, and he's probably going to get some snaps right from the jump. Because Vic Fangio is running that 3-4, this is going to look foreign to some people, but let me break it down. You have your edge rushers, Bryce Huff and Josh Sweat. They're going to start for the Eagles, I think. And then the backups at edge, Brandon Graham, Patrick Johnson on one side, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt on the other side. Vic Fangio is going to ask his edge rushers and defensive ends to drop back in coverage from time to time. No, I don't think you're going to see Josh Sweat drop back in coverage a lot. I think more so that's going to be the job and the role of Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. We saw Bryce Huff do that during the preseason. Brandon Graham, I think he's in the same category as Josh Sweat. When you need an edge to drop back in coverage, you have Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham rush the passer. I do not need to see them dropping back in coverage. I think Vic Fangio knows that. I do think that Patrick Johnson can do a little bit of everything. And then the monster surprise going into week 1. According to Jeff McClain, Nakobe Dean has beat out Devin White to be the Mike linebacker for Philadelphia. I imagine he's going to wear that green dot. For the first time in his career, Zach Bond is going to play off-ball coverage linebacker with the New Orleans Saints. He was primarily used as an edge rusher, so that's a new role for him. And because Devin White is injured and he got beat out, he didn't travel with the Eagles to Brazil, I think we could see a lot from Ben Van Sumeren, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and maybe a little bit of Oren Burks is mixed in. Those players, good special teams contributors. How can they impact this defense right from the go? If I had my pick of the first linebacker substitution, it's the rookie in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think he's the best in coverage. He's used to playing that position. He has more upside than a player like Oren Burks, who's played a lot of off-ball linebacker, but is more of a special teams player. And Ben Van Sumeren, he's not going to be on this roster as an every down linebacker, in my opinion. He's more of that special teams ace. Now we go to the secondary, specifically the Eagles cornerback room. Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers expected to start on the outside, and then Quinion Mitchell on the inside. Vic Fangio did say earlier this week that the rookie 22nd overall pick, Quinion Mitchell, out of Toledo, is expected to play about 100% of the snaps. That's going to be inside. That's going to be outside. Fangio adding that in an ideal world, there is a specific position for Quinion Mitchell, but he has to put his best DBs out there, and Mitchell is one of the best DBs, but so too are Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers. Wouldn't be surprised if Cooper Jean gets some run, maybe a couple of weeks into the year because of that injury holding him back, and then Keeley Ringo, he'll be featured in some pass-happy coverage, scheme calls, and then Eli Ricks, we know what he can do. He played some good football, I thought, all things considered, in an awful defensive system last year as a UDFA. Eagles safeties, Reed Blankenship, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. The Eagles did release Caden Stearns from the practice squad. They continue to be a little bit light at that safety spot. No James Bradbury because of that injury that we talked about on the show last week. So Tristan McCollum and Avonte Maddox, the backup safeties going into this game against Green Bay. No surprises here with the Eagles specialists. Jake Elliott, arguably the best kicker in the game. Braden Mann was an upgrade over Aaron Sipos last year. And then Rick Lovato, a long-tenured and very successful long snapper in this league with the Eagles. So with that, we round out this segment with this question here. What was the biggest camp and preseason surprise? To me, it's Devin White getting beat out. You let me know down in the comments section. Mekhi Becton over Tyler Steen up there as well. Some super chats to get to before we move forward with some more Eagles content. If you're just joining the show, we're only ramping up here on Eagles Now. Brian Pumper with the $5 super chat. Are the Packers a juggernaut? National outlets think so. Am I alone? I don't see it. Teams have tape of Jordan Love now, defensive coordinator from college, and I'm not scared of their wide receivers. So you make a couple of good points. Look, I think the Packers could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl in February. I think it's Philadelphia, San Francisco, Green Bay, Detroit. Those are the top 4 teams in the NFC. There's a little bit of a drop-off to that next tier. You're talking about teams like the Dallas Cowboys, the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Los Angeles Rams, I think, are in that category as well. But with the way that the Packers ended the year, they were hot. And Jordan Love, in his last, I think, 8 games, had an 18 touchdown to 1 interception ratio there. Played a really, really good football and completed over 70% of his passes. They can go 4 wide at wide receiver, 2 deep at tight end. They signed Josh Jacobs in free agency. They do have Jeff Hafley, who used to be the Boston College head coach, as their new DC. But in looking at their defensive metrics from last year, can't get any worse. So this is a difficult game for Philadelphia to start the season with. But I do think Philadelphia should win because they're the more talented and battle-tested team. Packers are really young. Joe Lord, $5 super chat. Thanks for the insightful, entertaining, informative, thought-provoking daily content. You're the man. Looking forward to that boot on Friday. Go Birds! Joe Lord, thank you so much for that. That's what I try to do. Anytime I'm in front of this camera here and I put on this headset, it's to provide Eagles fans worldwide with insightful, entertaining, informative, thought-provoking Eagles coverage. that involves the people. Our first 2 Super Chats coming in. We're up to 10. And if you're just joining the show, please make sure you continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. We're at 83 likes, 200 people watching live. All Super Chats today get a shout out. If you want to send us a tip, that's what a Super Chat is. We certainly appreciate that. It goes a long way. A $10 Super Chat will ring the Liberty Bell. But because we got those 2 5s in, we'll ring the Liberty Bell right now. If we get a $20 Super Chat, Chip and I going to do the Eagles chant. Whoever sends in the most $50 Super Chats in the month of September, we're going to send you a customized Eagles Now jersey. Eagles Now on the nameplate, the number 24, because it's the year 2024. And whoever sends in $50 Super Chats, we'll put your name on the numbers of that jersey. If we get $100 total today on this live show, we're doing a beer boot. We're $90 away. All right, let's move forward here with segment number 2. And we're going to go through my 5 biggest storylines for the Eagles going into the year.
Keep hitting that thumbs up. We are 14 likes away from 100. We got to get there right now. We got almost 200 people hanging out. If you're excited for the game on Friday, the start of this Eagles season, baby, hit that thumbs up.
If you're a Phillies fan, they just beat the Blue Jays 4-2. So they
Nice.
sweep that 2-game set. Kyle Schwarber with 4 home runs in less than 24 hours.
Unreal.
Crazy. Led off the game with another jack today. Bryce Harper did get hit, had to leave the game early. Hopefully he's okay. All right, segment number 2 getting underway right now. We're 3 likes away from 100. Continue to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and let's move forward with the live programming. Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles now, going into week 1 against the Green Bay Packers, I put together my 5 biggest storylines around the Eagles going into a brand new season. Really excited to take a look at that list, but first, with Eagles-Packers going down on Friday in Brazil, are you ready for the return of the Birds? The return of Eagles football. I'm pumped up. I can't wait. There is nothing like an Eagles season being back. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video if that's the case. And a reminder, join us for a watch party on Friday night, going live 90 minutes before the game. 5 biggest storylines. Number 1, Nick Sirianni's job status. And the status of Nick Sirianni as the Philadelphia Eagles head coach looking ahead. Next coach fired odds. Look where Nick Sirianni is. Robert Saleh, 7-1. Matt Eberflus, 7-1. Todd Bowles, 8-1. Nick Sirianni, also 8-1. I think that's pretty telling because if the Eagles have a disappointing season, if they get off to an awful start, if last year's disastrous ending to the year carries over into 2024, this Eagles team has far too much talent to not reach expectations. And if it gets rocky, Nick Sirianni could get canned during the year or after the year if it gets dicey. Remember this past offseason, there was a lot of chatter about the Philadelphia Eagles' interest in Bill Belichick, and their interest was said to be serious. Keep in mind that Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie is a New England area guy. Keep in mind that Bill Belichick has always been fond of and really likes Howie Roseman. There were Boston area reporters who were reporting, Tom Curran, that the Eagles' interest in Bill Belichick was a thing and it had legs. Ultimately, as we know, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman got together. They elected to give Nick Sirianni another year, and he's still this head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. But again, if the Eagles get off to a bad start, things could get very interesting, and the temperature beneath his seat could get scorching hot. Sirianni's strengths. I like him as a head coach. I think he's a quality coach in this league. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman really like him. Nick Sirianni is a very good communicator. He has built a very good culture in Philadelphia. He is 34-17 in 3 seasons as a head coach. He has hired good coaches who have gone elsewhere to have success. He oversees the entire operation. I don't think that CEO Nick is necessarily a bad thing. I like his aggressiveness and electing to go for it on fourth downs and on goal-to-goal situations. And I think that Sirianni does a good job of managing the game. Does he have weaknesses? Of course he has some flaws. What is his specialty? His offensive system last year was vanilla and predictable. He handed over the keys to Kellen Moore. There was a lack of creativity and innovation on the offensive side of the football a year ago. That's why teams knew what was coming, and that's why the Eagles were so lackluster at the end of last year offensively, even with a lot of talent. Nick Sirianni has admitted he can get a little bit too emotional from time to time, and he's trying to keep his emotions in check, and he's going to have to flush the claps from last year. You started 10-1, you finished the year with only 11 wins. That's inexcusable, especially in a city like Philadelphia. Second biggest storyline for the Eagles, the new coordinators. Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator. Is this the biggest difference for the 2024 Eagles? I think it's certainly up there, if not the biggest difference. Vic Fangio is a defensive legend in the NFL. His scheme was the scheme for a generation of football in the National Football League. And I just think that Philadelphia is going to be a far better coached team, and that leads to less mistakes, less frustration, more execution, and better overall play, but also maximizing players and putting them in a position to succeed. Kellen Moore has chops as well in this league. He's not as old as Vic Fangio, but he's very accomplished. During his 4-year stint as the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, Moore orchestrated a unit that ranked second in the NFL in total offense with 391 yards per game, second in scoring offense at nearly 28 points per game, and second in touchdowns, third in first downs per game at 22.5, fourth in passing offense, 264.5 yards per game, and third down conversion rate at 44.1%. He was also seventh in rushing offense at 126.6 rushing yards per game, and he helped Dallas to 3 playoff appearances and 2 NFC East championships while mentoring 9 players to a combined 13 Pro Bowl appearances. You compare Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio to Brian Johnson and Sean Desai, who were in over their skis and lacked experience. Huge upgrade for this organization. Third biggest storyline for the Eagles, the addition of their running back and big-ticket free agent signing, Saquon Barkley. Lehigh Valley native, Whitehall High School, Penn State. He's excited to be rocking the midnight green, not that ugly blue for the New York Football Giants. And when it comes to a football standpoint, Saquon Barkley is very excited to be on this team, and this is a big change of scenery for him. The Giants' offensive line was bottom 3 in ESPN's run block win rate the last 2 years. The Giants' offensive line was bottom 3 in Pro Football Focus's overall grades the last 2 years. Where did the Philadelphia Eagles rank the last 2 years during that time frame? They have been top 3. Saquon Barkley has never had a good offensive line. He has a good offensive line. He's never had a good quarterback playing at a high level. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback capable of playing at a high level. Saquon Barkley has never been on an offense with the likes of A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, Jahan Dotson, and Dallas Goedert. And now he has a good play caller on top of that. I think that Saquon Barkley is due for a monster season. What is your biggest storyline going into 2024? Part of why I love this show is your feedback and you being able to share your thoughts down in the comment section. So do that right now. Today's Eagles Now, sponsored by our friends at Game Time. What time is it? Game time. Make sure you download the Game Time app for free, create an account for free, and when you use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, you get $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. First purchase only. Game Time offering the best seats at the lowest price guarantee. See the view from your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can access tickets from your phone. Game Time picks, their curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater, and more. The all-in pricing tool, I suggest you toggle this because it shows you your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, and their lowest price guarantee. If you find a lower price on another ticketing app, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. If you want to go to an Eagles game this year, you can certainly do that. Plenty of tickets available. So one more time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS. Terms apply, first purchase only. We'll put that link down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Eagles Now. Coming in at number 4, can Jalen Hurts bounce back? And a lot of the Eagles' success this year hinges on Jalen Hurts returning to his 2022 form. Now, when you look at his numbers from last year, they weren't all terrible. He threw for more yards. He threw for more touchdowns. But the attempts went up. And he did have a worse year. There's no doubt about that. He really struggled against the blitz. I do think that was an offensive system problem, game planning problem, where he had no safety valves, no checks, no hots. But you look at his numbers from 2022, the completion rate was really good at 66.5. He threw for 3,700 plus yards. Yards per attempt also was up. And the touchdown to interception ratio was a lot better. He made better decisions in taking care of the football. What was a theme throughout Eagles training camp this past summer? He didn't throw a pick until the final day of training camp. He went more than 300 attempts without turning the football over. So he's always excelled with throwing the deep ball. He also looked, I thought, a lot faster and more nimble during training camp as compared to last year when he was just moving really slow. So you combine better coaching, better play calling, a better system. I think it's going to help out Jalen Hurts, a really good running back in the backfield in Saquon Barkley, all these complementary weapons. I think the defense is better this year than it was last year, which makes the offense's job in turn a lot easier. And I just think Jalen Hurts is hungry to prove that he was worthy of that lofty contract extension that he signed last offseason. Lastly, this is very weird for people who've watched the Eagles for a long time. This is a new era without Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox. Jason Kelce had been a member of the Eagles since he was a 6th-round pick out of Cincinnati in 2011. And he put together a marvelous career, the best that any center has put forward in the history of this organization. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl 52 champion, and he was in the NFL for 13 years. He became synonymous with the city of Philadelphia, part of the fabric for the city of Philadelphia. On and off the field, he exemplified what it's like to be an Eagle, what it's like to be a member and a citizen and a part of the city. Like, he is synonymous with the city forever. And every Eagles game day, especially with his consecutive games played streak, which was well over 100 when his career was over, we were so used to seeing the number 62 call out what the defense was doing, snapping the ball to the quarterback. That's no longer. So it's going to be weird to see an Eagles team without 62 leading the charge on the offensive side of the football. And we also don't see number 91 any longer. Fletcher Cox was drafted in the 1st round a year after Jason Kelce in 2012. He had a great 12-year career. He, too, a Super Bowl champion. He, too, goes down as an all-time Eagle, a first-team All-Pro in 2018. Keep in mind, he's playing in the generation of Aaron Donald. And he was still an elite player, a 3-time second-team All-Pro. He made it to the Pro Bowl 6 times. He, like Jason Kelce, always available, always very durable, and Fletcher Cox could dominate games by his lonesome. He's not quite the folk legend, right, to use a funny term of Jason Kelce, but widely respected in this city and a fan favorite and a great, great player. If you enjoyed today's show, I want you to give me a real one down below in the comment section right now. Appreciate all of your support. $20 super chat coming in from the OG. Speaking of legends, Jacob Counts, $20. He said, let's hear it. Say less. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! That gets us to $35 in super chats. If we get to 100, I'm doing a beer boot. How about Kelly Gasky? Kelly is a first-time Super Chatter. Thank you, Kelly, for the 5, and thank you so much for that first donation. I know you've been watching the show for a bit, so we appreciate you.
You know who else earlier was a first-timer? Joe Lord. So for Joe Lord,
first-time Super Chatter.
Didn't want to miss
Lord.
you, Joe. Didn't want to miss that because I saw that. Had to give you that shout out.
Ratio with the great comment, by the way. He typed ELGSELS. Remember the woman who was on the local news and they asked her to do the EAGLES chant and she completely botched it without even knowing? Legendary viral internet clip. If you haven't watched it, you have to. Our Super Chat menu, all Super Chats get a shout out. $10, we ring the Liberty Bell. $20, Eagles chant. We just did that for Jacob. $50, whoever sends in the most $50 Super Chats in the month of September, you will get a customized Eagles jersey from us. And if we get to 100 in total Super Chats here today, I am doing a beer boot. We are currently $65 away from that number. We can move forward with segment number 3. We're going to take a look at the Eagles starting lineup going into week 1 against the Packers. Carol Hosey, always a real one. I see ya. Jacob saying Ratio is a true Eagles fan. You're a true Eagles fan if you know that clip. Bless you, Chip. If you heard Chip sneeze, type bless you in the chat. All right, coming up, segment number 3. Let's go. Here we go. Let's run it up. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Really appreciate all of you for taking time out of your day to hang out here with us. And coming up, we're going to take a look at the Eagles starting lineup for this Week 1 game against the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. And speaking of that matchup, we'll be live for a watch party here in just a bit. Do you want the Eagles to beat the Packers? If that's the case, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. And if you're not riding with us and not riding with the birds, what are you doing here? Let's begin on the offensive side of the football. Eagles projected starting lineup going into game 1 here in 2024. The quarterback, Jalen Hurts, of course, looking to rebound from the lackluster ending to the 2023 campaign. He had a terrific training camp, did not throw a pick in more than 300 passing attempts, was very accurate. The combination between him and A.J. Brown was unstoppable. Sneakily, DeVonta Smith may have been the most unstoppable player at Eagles training camp. This Eagles offense is loaded. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have really stacked up that side of the football. They know that offense wins in 2024. We are also going to see the debut of running back Saquon Barkley. Eagles, by the way, going to be wearing their black helmets, white jerseys, black pants, the first time that they are wearing those kits in an NFL game. Saquon Barkley is so gifted. If he can avoid injuries, I think that he can have a truly special season and go down as a special player in the history of this organization. Kellen Moore can use him in a variety of ways as a runner in between the tackles, to the perimeter, catching balls out of the backfield. In pass protection, he's really good there. I want to see Kellen Moore get creative with lining Saquon Barkley up in the slot. And I love me a wheel route coming out of the backfield. And Jalen Hurts can thrive with that throw because he has really good touch on those types of passes to the perimeter. Tight end Dallas Goedert had been banged up over the last few days, is going to play in this game. I think that was more a precautious approach for Philadelphia. He's one of the best all-around tight ends in the National Football League. And when you talk about Jalen Hurts, made a lot of mistakes last year with the football, fumbling it and throwing picks, as evidenced by the 15 interceptions last year. Has to make better decisions with the football. Saquon Barkley, in a down year with the horrible offensive line, still ran for 962 yards. Behind this Eagles offensive line, I truly think that he can pop off, especially with the complementary weapons. For Dallas Goedert, injuries have held him back a little bit, but when he's on the field and healthy, he's a really special player, and he can impact the game beyond the box score. His blocking is truly elite at the tight end spot, and then he's a really good pass catcher. Projected starting lineup, we continue. Wide receiver 1 will be A.J. Brown. He's put together maybe the best stretch in the history of this Eagles organization for wide receivers with what he's done the last 2 years. Nobody has come close to really matching that production in consecutive seasons. Wide receiver DeVonta Smith, I think, has a career year this year. Naturally, with all of these other weapons, he's going to get open looks. And then the newest acquisition at the wide receiver spot, Jahan Dotson. 11 touchdowns his first 2 years. I know the yards were down. Keep in mind he had bad quarterback play, but I think that he's a really good wide receiver 3 on this football team. For Brown last year, 106 grabs, nearly 1,500 yards, and 7 touchdowns. The touchdown numbers were down from 11 the season prior because teams took away the deep ball. I don't know how teams are going to be able to defend Philadelphia with the bevy of weapons that they have. DeVonta Smith had a career year last year, surpassing 1,000 yards on 81 catches. I'd like to see those catches go up to 90, maybe 100. And then Jahan Dotson. This was a bad year for him with inconsistent and horrible quarterback play. 49 catches, 518 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's been a touchdown machine, and it's not like Philadelphia's asking him to be wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2. He's wide receiver 3, and he might be wide receiver or weapon 5. Weapon 5 on this Eagles offense here. Projected starting lineup. Jordan Mailata was one of the highest graded offensive tackles in the game last year. Landon Dickerson, $21 million in average annual value, the highest average annual value for a guard in the history of the NFL, a focal point in the run and pass game. He can move mountains. One of the big question marks, Cam Jurgens taking over for Jason Kelce at the center spot after Kelce had a great 13-year career. For those not familiar with Jurgens' game, very athletic, getting out in space on those pull blocks. With the way that he moves in that fashion, he might remind you a little bit of Jason Kelce. Similar builds, and Kelce helped Howie Roseman draft him in the draft a couple of years ago in the second round, coming out of Nebraska. Another big unknown is Mekhi Becton. He's only played offensive tackle at the NFL level. Now he beats out Tyler Steen to be the team starting right guard. He's a mountain of a man. If he can stay in shape and stay healthy, I kind of like the move to the interior. I think that it could really reignite his career to a certain degree because he kind of had become a failed first-round pick by the New York Jets, but a lot of people fail with the New York Jets. Right tackle Lane Johnson. He said, I have a couple of years left, and he continues to play stellar football. We've seen offensive tackles, Jason Peters, Andrew Whitworth, some of the greats of all time, be able to play elite football deep into their careers, latter 30s, early 40s. Lane Johnson's on that track. Be sure to join us on Friday for our Week 1 watch party. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. This is a star-studded matchup and a matchup between two of the top teams in the NFC. We'll be live 90 minutes before the game. Our coverage begins at 6:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on Eagles Now. And today's Eagles Now, sponsored by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. You create that account and you redeem the code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. What time is it? Game time. You know what time it is? It's time to get the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. And you get that with the Game Time app. They specialize in last-minute tickets. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can access your tickets from your phone. The Game Time Picks, a very cool feature because the curation makes it easier to save more on sports, but also on the Game Time app, you can find tickets to concerts, comedy shows, theater events, and more, all in pricing. Toggle this feature so that you can see your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. I know many of us have been on other ticketing apps, and they hit you with those wildly expensive fees at the end. Game Time does not do that. So one more time, create an account, download the Game Time app, use the code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply there. We'll put that information down below in the comment section and in the description of today's Eagles Now. We move forward with our projected starting lineup, and we flip it over to the defensive side of the football. Another big free agency acquisition for Philadelphia. Edge rusher Bryce Huff coming off a career-high 10 sacks in the preseason. He did play a lot. Vic Fangio saying he played him a lot because he's learning a new position. And from what I saw, he looked comfortable dropping back in pass coverage against New England. Made a really good pursuit play against the pass on a wide receiver screen. Was solid against the run in a short sample size. And we know that he can get after the quarterback. 10 sacks last year. Very good production for the New York Jets. Defensive tackle Jalen Carter. He was excellent for about half the year, 3/4 of the year last year. Then he got tired. It's understandable why that can happen with the rookie because you're not used to playing 17 games, 18-week schedule, the physicality of the NFL game. Jalen Carter acknowledged he had to get in better shape and wanted to up his stamina this offseason because he wore down a little bit at the end of last year. But think about it from his standpoint, right? Like he goes from playing college football to the NFL scouting combine, where there was some drama there, of course, and then he has to take visits with teams. Then it's the draft, rookie minicamp, OTAs, right into training camp. So a full offseason for Jalen Carter, understands what the game is like, and I think that he has the potential to be one of the top defensive tackles in the game. Jordan Davis, the big looming question, and I posed this on draft night a couple of years ago. Is he a 2-down player? Is he a 3-down player? We'll find out this year. 6'6", 340, all of the ability is there. Just has to put it together and has to stay in shape. And then Josh Sweat. Eagles restructured his contract. Going to be starting at the other edge spot opposite of Bryce Huff. Started the year well last year, and then his production was not good. Went on a sack drought until that wild card round against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then also involved here, rotating in, depending on what Vic Fangio wants from his front as far as the alignment, Milton Williams, who I think is one of the more underrated defensive tackles rotationally in the NFL. Starting inside linebackers, Devin White, in case you missed it, ankle injury, out, will not travel with the team. According to Jeff McClain, Nakobe Dean has beat him out. The former third-round pick, who was the best off-ball linebacker in college football. His first 2 years, hasn't played a lot, has been injured, has been inconsistent, put together an excellent training camp in preseason in beating out Devin White, according to Jeff McClain. And then Zach Bond, who is new to playing off-ball linebacker. He's made that transition nicely. It's going to end up being a good value play for Philadelphia. We know they don't like to invest at the linebacker position. He will start alongside Nakobe Dean. To the secondary now. Darius Slay was better than what a lot of people gave him credit for. And he said he feels as good as he's felt in a few years because he had that knee surgery for a knee problem that had been bothering him over the last couple of years. Still a really good corner in this league. And then Isaiah Rodgers comes off the gambling suspension to start at cornerback 2. On the outside, opposite of Darius Slay. And he could be taken off the field so that Quinyon Mitchell can get some outside corner reps, but I do think that Quinyon is going to play a lot from the inside, and I think he's capable of doing that, even though he didn't do it at Toledo. Starting at safety, C.J. Gardner-Johnson makes his return to Philadelphia if he can stay healthy. That has been an issue the last couple of years. He's a player with great feel and instincts who has a knack for making plays on the football. And then Reed Blankenship, starting opposite of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a player who I think last year struggled at times, but I think that was a byproduct of the system just being horrendous. And then to the specialists. Braden Mannett, punter, was an upgrade over Aaron Sipos last year. Jake Elliott got the bag, was a little bit rocky in the preseason opener against Baltimore, but still drilled the game-winning kick. Long snapper is Rick Lovato, who's been with this team for several years. And then I think Philadelphia's going to have Isaiah Rodgers as the top kick returner. And then Britton Covey has been one of the best punt returners in the game over the last year and a half. And I think that Britton Covey could end up getting some snaps at the wide receiver spot from time to time. It's kind of that possession guy out of the slot. So that is a look at the Eagles starters going into week 1. Grade the Eagles starting lineup for me from 1 to 100. 1 being awful, 100 being great. Let me know, and thanks for watching. We'll see you later for our Eagles-Packers watch party. Fazell Mack, $5 super chat. What is good, OG? Thank you for that. We're up to $40 in super chats. Can we get to 100 total? If we do, I'm doing a beer bomb. Or a beer boot, excuse me. The clock is on.
Uh-oh. On the clock.
You send in a super chat within 2 minutes, we'll stay live. If not, we're out of here, and we'll see you Friday night.
Man, I can't believe we're finally here.
It's wild.
I mean, we have football tomorrow. Eagles football in 2 days, but
Chiefs-Ravens tomorrow.
what a game to kick off the season. And if you're a college guy, like we've already had college football games, so football already kind of feeling back. Sorry, Petey.
Dennis Designs said, effing feed never started. I saw the chat, but no video. We're live, baby. Cool Rains giving the Eagles roster a 92. Don Ackerley, an 89. Carol Hosey, a 90.
There's no doubt, in my opinion, it's one of the more talented rosters in the NFL. Now, of course, you got to prove it on the field, but just from the names they have.
Kane Angel might have you as the mod on Friday night if you're going to join us. I'm turning 28 on September 9th. Happy early birthday to you, Kane. James Landis going 90. All right, I see you. I see you. Dennis Designs, a $10 super chat. We're going to ring the Liberty Bell for Dennis. By the way, nobody has sent in a 50. So whoever sends in the most $50 super chats in the month of September, you get a customized Eagles jersey. Dennis, with this, got in late, but did dental work. Did you get my email, Chase? Let's see. Let me check the email, brother. Oh, this is nice. Dennis has a very cool Eagles jersey. Let me see if I can just turn this around here. Look at that.
Whoa, little green screen action. I think you can see it, though.
Yeah, it's black, and it's got some cool designs. Jalen Hurts on there.
That's clean.
It's almost got like a camo shoulder into the sleeve, and then the number and the nameplate has some camo on it as well. It's Nike issue. That thing's awesome, man. He said he just ordered it. That's fresh. Very cool. All right, resetting the super chat shot clock for the man, Dennis. That gets us $50 away from a beer boot. $50 away.
If someone sends in a 50 right now, you'll get us to 100. He'll do the boot, and I'll do a beer ball.
All right.
For the 50.
All
Two
right.
for the price of one.
But it's got to happen inside the 2-minute super chat shot clock. We're about 30 seconds in now.
And you'll be the first member in our September competition here.
Kane Angel said, Chase, I'm down to be the mod again.
That would be awesome, man. You did a great job.
Cool Rains has the same birthday as Wiz Khalifa. So I was in Las Vegas over the weekend, and I went to Planet 13, which is the largest dispensary in the world. Just wanted to look around. And Wiz Khalifa has his own strain, and it seems to be a pretty booming business. He's got merch. He's got all types of different products. It's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Dennis Designs at 25. We're 25 away from a beer boot and a beer bong. I think that we can do this for Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
We're resetting the super chat shot clock. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us. We don't care. No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. We're the Eagles, the fucking Eagles. No one likes us. We don't care. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. That's for Dennis. Woo! 50 seconds into the 2-minute super chat shot clock. 25 away from 100, which is a beer boot.
Carol. I appreciate it. Carol says, sorry about your Tigers. My Clemson Tigers got thrashed by the Georgia Bulldogs.
It was
She
always
said, "Go
Georgia
Dogs."
minus 11. I was in Vegas watching the game. I won some money on that game. It was very nice.
Yeah, very nice for some.
Not
Sorry.
for Chip.
No.
Not for Chip.
Unfortunate.
All right. Good stuff here today. Can't wait for Friday. Gonna be awesome.
Oh, yeah. First real one, you know? Nothing like the first real one.
Nothing like the first real one.
Never forget your first.
Never forget your first. Indeed. Indeed. All right, 15 seconds left on the 2-minute Super Chat shot clock.
Clock's ticking.
You did mailbag. Didn't do a mailbag today, Dennis, just because there's so much movement going into the first game that I didn't want that to get spoiled. That would have sucked.
Andrew Nathan, how about my SC Trojans? What a win for Southern California. And what a loss for LSU. Big time, Andrew Nathan. Big time. That quarterback looks good, man. What's his name? The SC quarterback?
He's older, and I think the experience is really...
Yeah, because he sat for a couple
Miller
years.
Moss.
Right, yeah.
Miller Moss.
Yeah, he looked good.
He did. He was making some high-level throws. But Garrett Nussmeier, who, by the way, is the son of Eagles quarterbacks coach, Doug Nussmeier, looked really good. Lord Buddy Bear! We are 15 away from a beer boot. Buddy Bear. Got to see what the Liberty Bell is. Well, Philadelphia is America's birthplace. The Liberty Bell. Iconic. Lord Buddy Bear with the 10-piece. Ringing the Liberty Bell for Buddy. 15 away from a beer boot. I think I should just go get it ready, right?
I think the people are going to pull through. I think it's going to happen here.
Just go get it ready, and that's it. It's a wrap. People going to pull through, support the show, help us out.
Oh, yeah. Go get it, baby.
David Marcella, New England's finest, representing the Birds. All right, I'm going to go get that beer boot, and then Chip's beer bong. I'll be right back.
Shout out David Marcella with the sick Eagles flag, by the way.
From us.
From us. That is right. We sent that to you. Showed it loud and proud, baby. Loud and proud. It does, Carol. Carol says it feels like Christmas morning is coming. It does feel like that. Somebody said that in the office today, too. It's like a whole new year. Halfway through the year. I feel right at home now, you know? It's finally that time. We got through the dog days. And now we're back. Ian, yeah, Carson Wentz is still playing in the National Football League. What's my biggest story for the season? I want to pick a different one than what Chase did. Let me go back and see what Chase's were so I don't pick another one. He had Sirianni's job status, the new coordinators. 1 second. So we had Sirianni's job status, the new coordinators, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, new era without Kelsey and Cox. I'm going to say either, defense as a whole, I'm going to go pass rush, though. Because we've talked a lot about the secondary. I was going to go secondary, but we talked about that a lot. So I'll go pass rush here. You lose Hassan Reddick, who for the past 2 years has been really, really good for the Eagles. So now you're hoping that, Josh Sweat, can he be, a high-end 2? Can Bryce Huff be a high-end 2? Can he have the same production that he had with the Jets? Because he didn't play a whole lot. Doesn't have a whole lot of, experience. And now he's playing a new position in this defense. So what do you get from the pass rush, the interior guys? With Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. Can either of them, take that superstar leap? Because I think Jalen Carter, is in a good position to be able to do that. Jordan Davis is a real X factor because if he can be, I think dominant run stopper first, but if he can, get you few pressures a week, get you 7, 8 sacks. Like, that D-line, man, that could be a unit that wins you games in the playoffs. Who's the new Fletcher Cox? I mean, you're looking at Jalen Carter, man. When you're looking at a guy who can get after the quarterback from the interior, which is a rare skill set. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you. I haven't seen him.
Mr. Barkus. We haven't seen him. All right. Cheers to who got us over? Was that David Marcella? I think David Marcella got us over.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
David Marcella, Lord Buddy Bear, Dennis Designs. All with those recent supers. All right. Here we go. 3 beers, 1 boot for the Bird Gang.
Yes, sir. Chug, 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 chug. Here goes Mr. Senior. He's crossing the halfway point of the boot. He's coming down the home stretch. He gets past the bubbles, and he's got just a little bit left. He's down. Almost there. Oh.
E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles! Let's go. Let's go. Chip's got to do his little beer bong.
That's how it's done.
Yeehaw!
Little lemon lime action. Nice.
It's cold.
It's a cold world, man. It's a cold world. All right, here we go, baby.
Here we go.
He did 3. I'm just doing 1, but come on, I still got that dog in me. That tiger in me. Forget the dogs.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, baby. All right, here we go.
Here we go. Chip. Chug. Chip. Chug. Chug Chipper from Dennis. Chip. Chug. Chip. Chug. Down the hatch.
Oh.
It is cold as ice. Dun, dun. It's cold as ice. All right.
Oh.
So the next time we will be live, the games matter in the win-loss column. Eagles, Packers, Friday night, Brazil, watch party right here on Eagles Now. Can't wait for it. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you in a couple of days, but of course, more coverage still to come on the channel tomorrow. Go Birds. For Chip, I'm Chase. For the Bird Gang, we out. See ya.